Probably the most famous disappearance in aviation history involves the famous Amelia Earhart, whose aircraft disappeared in 1937 while attempting to fly around the world. Amelia Earhart was co-piloted by Captain Fred Noonan. The two disappeared while flying over the Pacific. Despite searches, the twin-engine aircraft was never found, and the two aviators were declared dead 2 years after the disappearance. However, there are still people looking for the plane. This plane, which was flying from New York's JFK Airport to Cairo, crashed into the Atlantic in October 1999, killing all 217 people on board. Because the accident occurred in international waters, the investigation was initially conducted by a joint American and Egyptian team. However, due to a lack of resources, Egypt asked U.S. experts to take over the entire investigation, but backed down when the Americans concluded that the crash was not accidental, but very likely deliberately caused. The perpetrator may have been the Egyptian co-pilot, who thus took revenge on the company that had just sanctioned him for attempted sexual harassment. However, the Egyptian investigation concluded that the incident was caused by a technical malfunction. In August 1947, a British Avro Lancastrian aircraft named Stardust crashed in the Argentine Andes during a flight from Buenos Aires to Santiago de Chile. As the search for the plane failed, conspiracy theories soon began to emerge, suggesting sabotage and even alien intervention. The speculation ended more than half a century later, when some climbers accidentally discovered the wreckage of the aircraft. Experts determined that the crew, disoriented by bad weather, began landing maneuvers too quickly and crashed the plane. Trans World Airlines Flight 800 departed New York City on July 17, 1996, at around 8 p.m. and exploded in midair a few minutes later. All 230 people on board died. A pilot in another plane contacted the Boston Control Tower, announcing that he had just seen an explosion in front of his aircraft, an altitude of about 4,800 meters, after which the damaged plane fell into the water. The investigations carried out in the following period attributed the accident to a short circuit that caused an explosion in a fuel tank in one of the wings. Several conspiracy theories immediately appeared on the internet, fueled by the statements of witnesses convinced that the plane was shot down by artillery fire. This hypothesis gained weight when the famous journalist Pierre Salinger, who had been the spokesman for President John F. Kennedy, claimed that the explosion was caused by a missile fired by the U.S. military during a test. However, the documents that Salinger presented to support this theory were discredited. In January 2013, the small plane carrying the head of the Italian fashion house Missoni disappeared off the coast of Venezuela. Vittorio Missoni, his wife and 4 others were flying from the Los Roques archipelago to Caracas when the plane suddenly lost altitude and speed and soon disappeared from radar. The plane was found 6 months later, and a team of divers eventually recovered 6 bodies, officially confirming the identities of Missoni, his wife, and the other occupants. Even so, there were doubts about the bodies recovered. Missoni's eldest son, Ottavio, speculated that the entire crew had been kidnapped, saying that a message had been sent from one of the passengers' phones 48 hours after the crash, saying, "Call now, we can be reached." It was the second time a plane had disappeared in Los Roques, an area that is now known as the New Bermuda Triangle.